All right, Mike Draco and Scott Stefano racing each other across the line tonight. The parking lot is open and we're taking in listeners now, getting ready to fire up another killer episode of the Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. Hey, I'm Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. I'm going to be your engineer tonight, take you on this two-wheel adventure through antique motorcycles and the greatest motorcycle race in the history of the United States. You can do your part here by liking and sharing, help us get this out everywhere. Other than that, grab a drink, sit back and relax. In 3.5 minutes, we're going live with the Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. Let's take a little look around the lot and see who's in. Mary Butts, Team Butts in the house. Joe Sparrow, St. Louis. Walter Bednarski, Hump Day in New Jersey. Fire in the hole, Scott Stefano says. Keith Kronoff, Central PA. Carrie Pratchett, Illinois. 2019 CCC. What's up, Dennis Stauber? Big D checking in. As always, good to see you guys here. Jimmy Bradley, Milwaukee. Jeremy Sather, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Man, our prayers are out for you, man. That's a tough part of the country to be right now. I know that. Steve Henderson in the house. Just 2.5 minutes. Rebecca Cunningham. Hello from Texas, the Republic of. God's country down there. Bruno Capola, good evening from Laconia, New Hampshire, home of Laconia Bike Week. All right. It's going to be a great show tonight. I hope you guys are ready for what Jason and Rob have in store for you. Another killer episode, a great guest, lots of stories about old motorcycles and the people that love them. Stick around, 2 minutes, we're going live. Scott Stefano, you ever hear of a movie called The Last Motorcycle? Supposedly are going to ban motorcycles. Get in touch with me, man. Hit me up at cyclesource69@comcast.net. I want to know more about that. Bubba Booey. Oh, you got me. Son of a bitch. Cecil Frost, number 15, rolling in from Alabama. Chris Googled that last motorcycle. You're not getting me twice on that one. Joshua Campbell. Seen you guys out my way yesterday. All right, Walter Coro in the house. Gonna be fantastic. Ready to fire it up now. I want to see if you guys were paying attention that the clock ran out. Anybody? Bueller? Matt Miller already at the AMCA meet in Ole. Bunch of us are coming out there tomorrow, man. Steve Broyles checking in from Detroit. What's up, Poppy? Hey, and time has run clean off of the clock. That means it's time to get this one out of the garage and up onto the road. And let's go live with this week's Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. Here we go.
Well, what is happening out there, Cannonball and Chase Junkies? That's right. We are back with another episode of the Cannonball Chronicles. You know what that means? It is Wednesday, hump day. Hang on. I got something in my throat. All right. I'm good. So we are back again. Like I said, we have a great show out for you tonight. I'm a little bummed. I see in the comments that a lot of people are already at Ole. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it there this year. This will be the first time in many, many years that I will not be attending this meet. Unfortunately, I am just way too busy trying to get 2 events done this year. So this whole week I've been nothing but to the grindstone, working from 7 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night. I'm working on trying to get these all these number plates out to people, getting those all put together and put in the mail. What else am I working on? Working on the route, working on part of the hosted things. I don't know. I'm working on so much things. I can't even remember what I'm working on. But
what are you working on?
Dude, everything.
Everything?
Everything. Hey, let's that voice that you hear back there, that's my weekly co-host, Mr. Rob Nussbaum. Let's bring him in and chat for a few minutes.
I'm tearing my hair out, Jason. Computer problems.
Well, that's why we got a few minute late start, but how are you now? You think we're good to go?
Yeah, I think we're good to go now. I didn't even want to get into it. I'm getting ready to go to Ole, Jason.
Dude, that's all I can say.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun this is going to be.
I know. Dang it. But
right?
Yeah, I've already seen some pictures showing up on social media. Looks like people are pulling in and pulling out some really cool things. I just keep encouraging, post stuff for people like us that can't go. Show us what we're all missing. So I look forward to everybody's posts and stories and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we're
out on social media world.
We're scheming to do some live feed from there. So little teaser, maybe you'll get to see some inside stuff from Ole via Source Media.
Yeah, I'd love that. Maybe we could do some virtual swapping. So, I could be watching live and see something really freaking cool and say, hey, Rob, buy that for me.
Well, maybe we'll put something together where you can actually be watching and be live with us.
There you go.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We're going to really test Chris Callan on this one.
Hey, I'll send you a check in the mail.
Hey, I was watching Coast to Coast last night, and Michael Lichter and Chris Simmons had a great guest on, and they were talking about all kinds of stuff, but Michael forgot to kind of promote his website. So I want to take a minute to encourage people. If you have been a rider on the Cannonball or on the Chase, Michael Lichter has a photo of you, and you can get for under $15. Under $15, you can get a suitable for framing picture of yourself riding the Cannonball or the Chase. And I mean, for $15, man, that's great. I was unaware that it was that cheap. And Michael said for under 50, you can get a signed photograph. So he'll not only send you the photograph, but he'll personally sign it. So I think that's a great deal. I want to encourage everybody to go to lichterphoto.com. And these are some of the images. And then, of course, he has other images. You know, people are used to seeing all his stuff in galleries for like hundreds of dollars and whatnot. But, you know, just to have a photo of yourself on the Chase and whatnot, or the Cannonball, that's a great deal, I think.
Well, you don't even have to buy a photo of yourself. I mean, you could buy a photo of your friend. I mean, you could buy a photo of something he did back in 2015 or 1977. You know, any image that you like that might fit your decor.
Well, yeah, I guess people don't realize that Michael's been around. Like, he was one of the earliest photographers with Easy Rider magazine. So he has got, and if you're looking for your image, I think he has a search function where you can actually type in your name and get that photo. So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
it's super easy to use. Super easy.
Yeah. And let's not forget Chris Simmons. She's got a website where you can, if you want to buy a fantastic book outlining the diary of the Cannonball, which she prepared for, I guess, on her first one, that's a dynamite read, and that's chrissimmons.com. So definitely support those two. They got it going on. It's pretty good stuff. So
I dig it.
For people who are unaware, just give us a little rundown, Jason, because we have a couple of new viewers tonight, I think. Give them a rundown of what the Cannonball is and basically what the Chase is in 10 words or less. No.
It is the ultimate challenge of man versus machine. 7 words.
That's very good. Now maybe a little better synopsis, but
all right. So the motorcycle Cannonball, for you guys that don't know that are tuning in for maybe the first time, is it's a antique motorcycle endurance run that we do every 2 years. So this particular year, 2021, was actually supposed to happen in 2020, but we've moved it to this September, where we will be taking 100 riders that are riding pre-1930 motorcycles from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We'll kick over on the East Coast to Myrtle Beach, and then our final destination will be in South Padre Island, Texas, for the grand finale. Just a little over 4,000 miles on these antique, archaic machines. It is something to see.
Antique being the years?
Pre-1930. So, I think our actually oldest bike now is a 1909 on the event, all the way up to a 1929. So we range in a whole bunch of different models, just not Harleys and Indians. You'll see Triumphs, Nortons, frickin' Flying Squirrel, which will be really cool. Whole bunch of other kinds. You can actually go on our website at www.motorcyclecannonball.com. We actually have all the riders' bios up there. It shows them and their motorcycles, tells a little bit of history about each one of those guys. And we actually just started updating the route page now, so you can find places to see us along the way in 2020. Or actually 2021. So you can go to that page. We'll be constantly updating that of times and dates that you'll be able to find us. We'll actually be putting them on Facebook too, as an event and stuff like that. So
cool.
So let's talk about the Chase here for a minute, because we are hot and heavy on the motorcycle cross country Chase. We just started taking reservations on that, entries on April 1st. We have just a few spots left in the event. We are going to cap that at 100 riders. This event will include motorcycles from the ages of 1930 to 1960. A little bit different than the Cannonball is that all the riders on this event must be self-sufficient, which means that they need to ride their motorcycle. They have to pack all their clothes, all their tools, all their spare parts. We do not allow any trucks and trailers on this event, and no following girlfriends. So you got to be out there. It's you and versus your machine, and we're going to take you on the best 2 lanes of America. So if you're out there and you've been kind of on the fence about if you want to do this event, I suggest you probably get off the fence, because we're going to fill it up here pretty quick. So get out there to the website, get signed up, and don't regret not going on this epic journey with us. So
look at those names.
Pretty thing.
Look at those names,
yeah,
man. Wow.
Oh, we got such a killer group of people going. A lot of new people that hadn't done the chase or the Cannonball before, kind of some first time endurance guys. So it'll be fun to see them kind of evolve and see what happens with them. We actually just started on Facebook and Instagram 2 days ago, started releasing stories about each one of the riders. So you can actually go to Facebook, Instagram, and almost every day we'll be putting a bio out there of the riders here before the event. Of course, if you don't do any of those, you can go to the website, themotorcyclechase.com, to get all the info of what we're doing on there. So that's 10 times 1,000 words I just went through.
Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Way to go, Jason. You've done it again.
So, no, we are super, super excited. I just get chills thinking about the events this year. So,
Magoo, you've done it again.
It's time to get going again.
So, all right, Mr. Magoo.
But hey, before we kind of get going here, I have a little bit of extra news that I want to share, and maybe you guys out there in social media land can help us figure out a solution here. So I see a lot of you guys already commenting out there. Make sure while you're doing that to hit the like and share button, get your friends involved. So anyways, I recently had a meeting with one of our Cannonball sponsors from 2016. He has decided to donate back this original signed copy of the Motorcycle Cannonball canvas to clay. He knows that events like ours have been devastated over the last year. So he has decided to donate this back to try to raise funds for the event. So I will be trying to come up, and maybe I can have your guys' help out there. How do you think we can raise the most money with this very, very rare piece of artwork? All original signatures on it by every rider on the 2016 Cannonball. So if you guys got any ideas out there, hit it up, hit me up, whatever. I almost thought about maybe we should put it on eBay or something like that and give everybody a shot at it. So anyway, if you got any suggestions, get back to me. But
so before we move on, just came in from Matt Miller. He says it's too late. He got everything already. He's at Ole. He says you missed it all, Jason. He's got it all.
That's probably my luck, Shoot. I mean, first year I don't go and all the good stuff will show up.
Right.
But, oh well, so, you know what? So those guys are in Ole. I will be in Las Vegas next week at the Mika Motorcycle Auctions. I think we may even try to do the show from the auction there. So that might be kind of interesting. We'll just have to see what kind of signal and all that kind of stuff. So, but my plan is to maybe get a few of the other people with me to be co-hosts. So we'll see what happens.
I heard there's a lot of knuckleheads this year and some nice bikes too.
Oh, dude, there is some killer stuff that'll be at the auction. It'll be interesting to see kind of what the market is doing. I know a lot of the main players that usually go to these auctions probably are not going to be there this year. So it'll be interesting to see, like I said, how the market will be doing.
Cool.
Hey, well, if you guys are planning on attending, comment out there too. Maybe if there's enough of us out there, I will put some kind of social event together, something while we're out there, just to have a drink or whatever, and just get to see each other. Since we haven't got to see each other for a while, so
nice. Good idea.
So comment if you're going, and yeah.
So with that, let's go to our next segment. As we do weekly, we have a segment that we call 1,000 Words. With Rebecca Cunningham.
I'm like,
Well, what's happening?
Okay. Oh, I got busy listening to you guys and forgot. Oh, yeah, I have to talk too. Oops. So this week, I kind of went off script a little bit, which is kind of normal for Cannonball and Chase in a way. We tend to find things along the route that we didn't necessarily know were on the route. And this is one of those situations. Now, I have to say, my buddy Kurt did know this was along the route. We were taking a side road that turned into being on the route because there was a detour that nobody knew about until the first riders got through there and went, oops, there's a detour. So this little place, it was just, I'm afraid to give too much away. Maybe we should roll the video and then I'll tell you a little bit more. How's that?
Beautiful.
Just tell you briefly what I do, and then I won't go on any further. But I collect KRs and XR race bikes, but from 52 through like 1980, through that era. And that's pretty much what I stay focused with, is just race bikes. But
Awesome.
It's enough, I would.
What got you started into being interested in these specific bikes?
20, 30 years ago, I kind of got back at it. And, everybody's got to do something. They go golfing or go fishing, or this is what I do. So every one of them, there's a history or there's a story, and that's why I'm as much into the history of motors, of the race bikes, as the damn bike is. You know, the history, the families. And,
what's your favorite one? What's your top
other,
dog?
depends on the day.
I see.
These were the motors. The bike I bought as a unit, but these, the motors, I bought the motors and had to build around them. You know, the motor is what it's all about. It's a sort of. Did you know David Aesop?
No.
Kathy Aesop? This was David Aesop's. He bought it new. Do you know the name Ronnie Rawl? Old rider? He was national champion, national rider. But anyhow, they were brother-in-laws. But this was David Aesop's bike, and they bought it new. Him and his wife bought it new in 1962. And that's the first year that they allowed fairings at Daytona, streamlining. So it's an original.
And that was back when Harley could compete on the asphalt.
Yes. Wow. For many years they dominated. Now for many years.
That's when Buddy was racing. He may have won the 200 down there, or whatever it was then.
Shop setup. This is so nice. All right, Kurt gets the side trip prize.
Water or something. But there wasn't many privateers back in that day that were real successful, and he was one.
Nice.
You know, he did. Here's a letter from Walter Davison thanking him for his efforts, and dated back into the early 60s.
1963.
And they just bought the bike in 62, the fall of 62.
I wonder how this bike placed in that race.
6th or 7th, I think, but he was running better, and he had a little mishap.
Another rider hit your rear brake and forced you out of the race.
He lost a
for
couple,
10
3 laps getting it fixed, getting it straightened out.
Oh, man.
First Flintfield Harley Davidson and the boys who ride our brand did one heck of a nice job in 1963. Walter C. Davidson.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How cool is that?
That was
unbelievable.
very cool, and completely took me by surprise. I mean, Kurt had met this guy. He goes to the Springfield Mile every year, and so over the years, Kurt had visited with him on occasion. And when we were getting ready to come close to there, that first day of the chase, Kurt called the guy up and he said, yeah, come on by the house. And Kurt goes, well, I got a couple people with me. And he goes, we don't care. Come on. And we got there. And I know, Jason, you'll probably remember how that day went. Partway through the day, we had a detour pop up. And so we had to change the route a little bit. And so everybody went past it, but there wasn't a sign or anything. It was just that little orange vehicle sitting out front. That was
Right.
it. And, Kurt just happened to know this guy and he said, yeah, come on by. So we got to go in and I shot a lot more than just that, but I didn't want to, I either had that 3-minute window to water down everything I saw or just do that 3 minutes. And then later I'll put a longer piece together about our whole visit there. And we weren't there for maybe an hour, but I shot an hour's worth of video.
Yeah, it's a cool place. And Gene's a really cool guy also. He sets up across the way from me in Daytona. So I've had a couple conversations. I actually just got to see him here about a month ago when I was down there and got a chance to talk with him. And he thought it was so cool that all of us stopped by on the event like that. And he actually opened an invitation that when we come back by there on the motorcycle Cannonball, that we can stop there again before the event or after.
Oh,
What a cool place.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, so that video is just one example of many where we are going along and, there's something unexpected on the side of the road or, just like that, going to this full-blown museum. Everything from that to the funky little dressed people, scarecrows. What was it? A yard full of scarecrows someplace. Was that 2018? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
was, yeah.
Jason?
Yeah, that place is
just-
crazy.
It was. And it's the whole route is like that. It's I don't know how Clausen does, if he actually plans some of that stuff or it just happens that those things are by the road, but it's so much fun to run these routes and see so many interesting and unusual things along the way.
It is.
Real cool stuff.
All right, y'all.
So yeah, we're
Yeah, why don't you talk?
let's go to our sponsors now. We're gonna bring our guest in. Rebecca, thanks as always. Appreciate it. Great stuff.
Heck yeah.
That was I'm still in awe. I was speechless from looking at that stuff. So very cool.
I got to get back there again.
All right, so we'll be back in a few minutes after a word from our sponsors. But before we do that, I want to remind you all to like and share, smash that share button, mash that like button. And I want to give a shout out to Chopper Town and all the other networks that carry us. And we'll be back in a moment.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. A race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
What? What is that? I've never seen that before. Oh my God. I gotta
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I gotta bring in my friend Chris Callan to explain
Oh,
that.
this is a symptom of insanity. So I had Thursday nights open, and a bunch of my guys are into the performance scene.
Chris, I can't see you on the screen right now.
I'm not on tonight. It's
I'd
just
really
you guys.
like to see you if I could.
You're killing
for a
me.
minute.
You're killing me tonight. I love
you.
I love
You're killing.
I love
Chris,
your crystals
that was great.
walking. It was.
He's in his house coat already.
It's going to be a lot of house coat. I haven't heard that word forever, dude. That is so cool that you said that. That's awesome.
Chris, tell us about what we just saw there. There he is, the man of the hour.
Chris the engineer, yay!
Yay! You're great. Look at you.
So yeah, I have Thursday nights open. A bunch of my friends are really into the performance scene, and we realized that with all the performance stuff going on with the Dynas and the FXRs and performance baggers, Bagger Racing League, the king of the baggers, there's no place for that. So Thursday nights, 9 p.m., we're putting a whole show together, and they're going to be in charge of it. Jason Holman's going to be your host. Tons of great people with him, and it should be pretty exciting. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday is going to be their premiere show. Thank you guys for mentioning that.
I've got a question for you. Will you have the Star-Lord on any of these shows?
The Star-Lord may make an appearance on Torque. He might.
Beautiful. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss the Star-Lord for sure. Chris, thanks, man. That's exciting. We're looking forward to it. Man, Source Media is stepping up the game. Unbelievable.
That's going to be killer.
So, Jason, are you excited about our guest tonight? I know
I am.
We're getting out of the Harley realm into some performance stuff here.
We are. I'm excited to learn more about the Norton world tonight, because our guest, Mark Zenor, is a Norton guru, I guess you could call him. And I think we're going to end up learning a lot from this guy tonight. Like I said, I know absolutely nothing about Nortons, so this will be definitely an education for me. And I'm looking forward to it. And with that, I think we should bring in our guest, Mark Zenor.
Let's meet the racer.
Evening.
Well, hey there. Well, what's happening tonight?
You. What's happening, Mark?
Oh, beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest.
Now, tell everybody where you're from. Because a lot of people don't know what the Pacific Northwest is.
I live in a small community outside of Tacoma, Washington. It's about 45 miles south and of Seattle and 15 miles east of Tacoma, kind of on the doorstep of Mount Rainier.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I love that area. It's so beautiful up there. Just great riding. We actually took the event there in 2014 with the motorcycle Cannonball and had our grand finale there at the Tacoma, Washington LeMay Museum.
Well, America's Car Museum, yes, indeed, and local Harley dealer.
Right. So I understand that, I guess since we're on the subject, that you have a connection with America's Car Museum.
We did. We had a vintage motorcycle event that we were running. We did it about 5 years. And then due to one reason or another, the momentum ran out of it, and we have not been able to replace that yet. We've been having like about 300 vintage motorcycles on the field.
Oh, wow.
You know? And it just somehow the dynamics didn't quite work out right.
That's interesting because, I mean, the LeMay Museum is such a cool place. It's got such a great grounds there to host different events. And, you think with 300 different vintage motorcycles, it would just keep on going.
We had sure hoped that. A lot of us have put a lot of emphasis and time into it, and it was a great event. Everybody had a good time. So maybe soon we'll find something to replace it. The Family Museum, we have a vintage event there most Junes that culminates on Father's Day. And it's got vintage bikes on display. The Vintage Motorcycle Enthusiasts and the Northwest Motorcycle Museum put up a lot of historical information, pictures, photos of the local motorcycle environment that went on here back in the day. A couple of big groups were formed, basically from bicycle riders, racers. And when motorcycles, once there was two out here, they had to have a race and then board tracks and huge events, hundreds of thousands of people attending. Pretty wild.
Right. Heck yeah.
There was a guy, matter of fact, there was a guy that had a challenge, and he rode with his hands handcuffed from Seattle to Portland.
What?
No hands. Go Google it.
When was this?
Oh, back in about 19, I'm guessing, let's say 1910.
Really? What was he riding?
I would guess a Harley.
I'm going to write this down because I want to look at this story. That sounds pretty interesting.
Mark, tell us a little bit of background, how you got involved with motorcycles.
Oh, well, a friend of mine, we lived out on a farm, right? And our friends in town, they had a Cushman. And, we used to get to ride that. Well, then at about 14, we bought a little Honda SL100 dirt bike. And we had a 20-acre pasture behind the house. And the brother and I and the neighbor kids and stuff, we rode that bike and their bikes. And every once in a while, there's probably a fist fight or two trying to figure out who's going to get to ride it next,
What, a little brother rivalry? I can't imagine.
Yeah. Eventually, we bought another one, and that kind of solved that problem. And then I stepped up to a Honda 250, the two-strokes that they brought out, MT 250. And by golly, finally, after getting off a four-stroke Honda, I could take on the Kawasaki's, the Suzuki's, all these other bikes that had been kind of rubbing my nose in the dirt. And then another friend of mine, a guy that I work for at a body shop, says, well, we're going out to Sturgis, South Dakota for this big motorcycle thing, right? I think I was 17 at the time. So figured I couldn't go out there on that dirt bike, so I traded it in, and I got a Honda CB350, and I rode that out to Sturgis in 1974.
Oh, wow. A Honda CB350 from, where'd you say, Iowa to Sturgis?
Yeah, we were right on the western border of Iowa, so it's just across the state of South Dakota, basically.
Right. I mean, that's still 400 miles. I mean, that's for a 350, you had to have that thing just pegged out the whole time.
And we got out there. I slept in the back of a pickup truck, and at that time, it still hadn't turned into maybe as big a celebration as it is now. The racing emphasis was in hill climbing. There was still a show on the street, but nothing like it is today. But it was great. Of course, my folks freaked out because what am I doing? Going to some motorcycle rally, 17 years old.
Oh, dang! I didn't even hear that part that you were 17. I was thinking that you were already in your 20s.
No, just old enough to get the license. So, and then I got back. I was in 74, and then in 75, I graduated and went in the Navy. I got out in the Navy stationed me in Whidbey Island in Washington, which is about 55 miles north of Seattle. And I was an aviation electrician. and I got out there with no wheels, and had $2,500 in my pocket, and I was heading down to Seattle to buy a Honda CB750F had just come out. And as I left the island, there was a used cycle shop, and I thought, well, let's go in here. Took a look in there, and here was this 71 Norton 750 Commando.
Oh yeah.
You know, and my best friend's dad had always talked about what a machine a Commando was, you know, and just the word Commando kind of grabs you. So I took it for a ride.
Being a military man as you are, right? You had to have a Commando.
I took it for a ride and loved it, and it cost half the price of a Honda, and so I had $1,200 or better to party, and I got a bike too.
Nice.
Wow, that's cool. So
That
tell
was
me
a
about
ton of
that
money.
first Norton. I mean, what kind of feeling did it bring to you? How long did you have that thing? And you know, did you do anything to it?
Oh well, this was the era of choppers, right? So this bike had been slightly modified. It had a 16-inch rear wheel on it, and it had some little pullback buckhorn bars. Somebody had taken the rear tail loop and cut it off and turned it into a little sissy bar, and a little steps, not a step seat, but a curved seat over the fender. So it gave you that kind of drop in and you know, pull back on the bars kind of thing. And I ran that bike for 3 years. And then I got tired of getting wet. Rains a lot out here in the Pacific Northwest. No, and I tell you what, there's nothing harder than making a Norton look good as a chopper.
Is that yours? Is that
no?
on-
I didn't have that king and queen seat, you know. But
Right.
the rear wheel's the same and such. But the way that engine sets in the frame, it always looks a little odd. I don't know. They don't make good choppers. It's way better to keep them stock and enjoy the twist.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a thing at that time, Triumphs and Norton choppers, you know, but Norton was so well known for its handling and whatnot back then. It's almost a shame to do that to it.
I think it's
But
more.
wasn't something about their speed too, that they were one of the fastest factory motorcycles back in the 70s or something like that? They had some claim to fame. It's just not coming to
Yeah,
me.
they shift funny.
At the time, no, they shift normal.
Norton, they shift Norton is what they shift.
At the time, yeah, they claimed first superbike status, and they were top motorcycle. Commando was like for 5 years with what was the big motorcycle magazine back then? Anyway, so but it was a flash.
Tell our audience why I would say that they shift funny, and I'm hoping that you and I are on the same page here. But to you, it shifts normal. But why would somebody think it shifts funny?
1 up and 3 down.
Right.
The
Which
right
standard is
on the right side, right? And it wasn't until 1975 when Congress mandated that all bikes had to shift on the left side that they finally had to change. And unfortunately, that regulation, a few others, and the condition of finances and British motorcycle industry in the UK at the time, that was pretty much that was the swan song, you know, for the US. So they kept it up for a few more years in the UK, but 1975 was the last year of imports to the US.
And did Norton have a disc brake in their last run?
And towards the end, they did. Yeah. 72
Four?
Combat, they called it. Started out with a disc brake, and then it was depending on what you wanted to buy. It could either be the drum or the disc. Now, there's a long-standing rumor. I will not confirm it or deny it, but they basically did not want to make the disc brake too powerful because they figured everybody was used to that twin leading shoe brake, so why make it better?
They'd be going over the top.
Yeah, and finances being what they were, they probably had a lot of those brake setups still on hand.
A lot of food.
So, Well, that's cool stuff. And so, what? I understand you owned a Sportster. How did that happen?
Excuse me, Russ. What was that again?
I understand you owned a Sportster at one point. Was that a brief encounter?
Yeah, I did.
A little lapse of judgment, or what? What was going on there?
Maybe. I went to work I got out of the Navy, and the Norton was in pieces because I was trying to rebuild it. So I'm sleeping in the living room on a couch, and the motorcycle's in the bedroom. And one of the inspectors, quality control inspectors at Boeing, had a Sportster up for sale. And the bike looked pretty decent. So it was in 1979, and I don't know, that was the 1 year that they had the rear disc brake, and the rear master cylinder sat in a position where you couldn't use any of the previous year's pipes. You had to have a specific 1979 only pipes to put on it, right? And it had a few problems. The rear cylinder got an egg shape. We rebored it, put it all back together again. And after that, I put an oil cooler on it, chromed it out a little bit, put it in a Mustang tank, had it painted 79 Ford truck metallic blue, and really enjoyed it. It was a nice riding bike.
Cool stuff. What year was it again? I'm sorry, I missed that. What year was that?
1979. 1979 AMF Ironhead.
And shifted on the left. That's the Edsel of Harleys, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So I know everybody's like, 79. You know,
See where that rear master cylinder that makes that rear pipe, curve different, and you couldn't put any of the earlier engine pipes on it, so you had to buy the extra pricey one.
Or any of the later. It's a 1 year only exhaust, and it was a killer for that model for that year. It's like I said, it's known as the Edsel of Harleys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
So let's touch for a minute you said it here just a second ago that you worked for Boeing. I'm kind of interested to hear a little bit about this and that career path of yours.
Oh, all right. Well, unfortunately, my shop is detached from the house and it's across the way, so I couldn't I have no wireless there. So I ended up bringing some stuff from the shop to kind of set up something besides a bare wall behind me. So let's see, the photo right there. And how well you can see that. But that's a hydrofoil that the U.S. Navy decided to build, and Boeing built it for them. And that's where, when I got out of the Navy, was my first job as an electrician. I worked on that for 3 or 4 years. And then from there, I jumped around through a variety of programs. I ran Star Wars particle accelerators during the Reagan era. I helped build the 777. I worked on unmanned air vehicles, doing software, hardware, flight control integration. Later on, I worked on a program that was trying to put satellite internet communication on aircraft, so that when you're sitting in your seat, you could cruise the internet, And then that was called Connection by Boeing. And then later on, my finale there was working on something called Electronic Flight Bag, which basically was a computer system and a downloadable. You could download things at the airports through the wireless. So the pilots didn't have to carry those big bags, their pilot cases with all the charts and taxi maps and stuff like that. It was all electronic. And
wow,
this
that's
photo
impressive.
This photo here behind me is my retirement photo.
Nicely done, too, by the way.
And when was that? What year was that?
4 years ago.
Oh, cool.
I did 35 years there and 5 years in the Navy.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive. I'm surprised with all the stuff that you're involved with that you can actually be on with us tonight, or actually have public interaction, you know? It sounds like you were into some pretty top secret stuff.
Well, we're not talking about any of that, are we?
What?
Not
Talking
yet.
about what?
But we may get there.
I'm writing it all down, though.
Well, I'll be watching for the black SUVs, you know?
Yeah, right?
All right. So 4 years ago, you retire from Boeing. What do you do with your life then?
Well, the fellow that's again, these pictures, my light here, I can see one of the advantages you guys have of kind of having your home studios is you got proper lighting. And I'm fighting a dying sun here. Anyway, this one fellow back here, number 55, his name was Les Cook, and he had a Norton restoration and motorcycle business. And we ended up being pretty good friends while I was doing my first Norton restoration. And he later on passed from lung cancer, and his brother inherited, and he didn't really want any of this stuff. So he said, if you're willing to put out your shingle, I'll sell you all this. So I shot him an offer, and I started doing it part-time while I was working at Boeing. And then when I retired, I've just kind of continued doing it. And that's pretty much what I do. I get up and wander across the yard into the shop, and I mess with Nortons.
Oh, nice. Well, let's talk about the first Norton restoration that you did. I'm curious of what that bike was.
Well, the first one was actually, I'd gotten out of motorcycling for a number of years, you know, wife, kids, and stuff like that. And then I decided that I wanted to get back into it. So, of course, it had to be a Norton. And I found one in Missouri and bought it and brought it home. And then kind of started tearing it down. And the next thing I know, you know, it was almost to the frame. So it went all the way down, and we did all the stuff, powder coat and stainless steel, and, you know, pretty much stayed to stock though. And as a commando. And so I told my wife, I just want a bike to ride on Sundays. Well, that bike turned into, I wrote down a note here. I think I've got, where'd that note go? That's what I hate about getting prepared. You can't find this stuff.
Maybe you over prepared.
4, 5, 6. I got 6 Nortons now and 2 other bikes.
Oh, and what years?
What year? So after I got done with that commando, then I kind of got interested in singles, and I ended up buying at the Tenino swap meet, which is an American. What's our AMCH, American Motorcycle History Group. The Evergreen chapter has a swap meet every year in Tenino, and I went out there, and here was a 46-ish Norton that was for sale, and a friend of mine said, oh, look, you could buy that and ride it and restore it, you know. So I bought it, and when I went to take a look at it, I realized there was no way I was going to ride this for a while, and it took me about 5+ years. And I was working, you know, for Boeing. I did a lot of traveling. I think I ended up figuring out I bought parts from 12 different countries before I was done.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and that became that bike that I rode on the 2019 cross-country chase.
Oh, cool. Let's talk a little bit of history of Norton for the people that don't know out there. Where does Norton originate from?
Originally it was in London, you know, and they had a deal on Bracebridge Street. Pa Norton, he was known as James Lansdowne Norton, was the owner that had started the business, and he started out in like 1902, as a bicycle and parts manufacturer. And then, or maybe it was 89, in 1902, using Swiss and French engines on bicycles, he sold a motorcycle. And then by 1908, I'm going to say 8, I might be off a year or two, he actually had his own engined Norton motorcycle. And Pa Norton liked to race. And so I think it was in 1907, the guy by the name of Rem Fowler ran a twin cylinder in the Isle of Man and was one of the first wins. And Norton and Isle of Man were kind of whimsically combined from that point on.
That's cool.
They developed a number of bikes. One of the ones that everybody is, or a lot of people are familiar with, are the Manxes, an overhead cam engine driven by a vertical shaft from the crankcase. And then there were a variety of other bikes, but they always relied on their racing history and their advertisements, you know, winner of 24 TTs kind of thing, you know. And so it was never, it was always sold a little higher. So bikes like BSA's Triumph, Douglas, any other, I mean, Britain has such a rich history of motorcycles, you know.
They do.
And what was interesting in preparation for the show, I took a look to see, like, well, where did Harley Davidson, do their first bike? And in that early 1900s time frame, 1900 to 1910, was like a bombshell. Everybody is getting out there with some kind of two-wheel device, you know. Pretty interesting.
It was. So just to touch one last question on kind of the history and when you're rebuilding and restoring these things, I mean, is that where you're going mostly, is to France or England or over like that to find the parts for these?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Norton, when they built their bikes, a lot of the cycle parts, the frame, mud guards, stuff like that, non-engine specific parts, were kind of shared across the models. So it's actually any one of the UK or Britain's empire countries, India, Malaysia, Egypt, Iraq, all have huge stashes of military bikes from World War II. Norton built 100,000 16H flatheads that were used during the war.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and over 300,000 numbers of parts, kind of thing. So, and
do you know who they were mostly supplying to back in the day?
Oh no, I wouldn't want to try to comment on that specifically. But all the Allies got them. Even Russia got them.
Yeah, I believe it was mostly the Allies or the British forces.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about that.
There's actually a picture somewhere of Queen Elizabeth riding a British motorcycle, and I've never been able to tell whether it was a Norton or a Triumph. But she, during the war effort, she rode a motorcycle for whatever reason. There's a photo of her riding.
Most likely, it would be either a Norton or a shoot! I'm going to shoot myself in the foot.
PSA,
an M20. It was not Triumph. Triumph was in, based in the city of Covington, or
right.
I'm not. I said that wrong.
Birmingham.
No. Maybe it was Covington. Anyway.
Yeah, Coventry. You're right, Coventry. I'm thinking
Coventry.
PSA.
Thank you. But what was really interesting about that is during World War II, they had gotten that. They knew how to read the Germans' codes, and they knew that they were going to burn that city. They're going to bomb it, right? And that's where Triumph is located at. And they didn't spill the beans, because if they did, they would have lost the codes. And so Triumph was pretty much destroyed in World War II. And so they didn't really produce many motorcycles for the actual war effort. And in a way, though, that was a blessing in disguise, because after the war, they were able to come right out without having a large singles history, and they brought out their twin cylinder, and they were a step ahead by that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, let's kind of switch gears a little bit and get more into some modern stuff. I want to kind of know what you're doing now. Let's start with the 2019 Chase. So the 2019 Chase, you competed in that on a Norton. Let's talk a little bit about that bike, of what it was, what it took you to get ready for the event.
And don't forget to tell us about your roommate on the Chase.
Yeah. The guy that's buying up all the good deals at Ole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the bike that I rode in the 2019 is it's titled 1947, so that's the way we ran it. It's literally a 46, and that's the deal with Washington's titles. But it's the last year of a girder fork, and it's a rigid rear end. It's a 500cc overhead valve, single. That's the one I was working on for about 5 years or better, and got it restored. I had almost like 9,000 miles on it before the cross country Chase, and we were going over one of them levees down there in Florida. Where was that? Where we could stop and go to the state park or something? That last,
I can't.
Second to the last day, something like that. Anyway, that's where,
Like Alligator Alley or something like that. I don't remember. Everglades National Park.
Yeah. And that's where it went over 10,000 miles. So there's one video that I provided, and it's I was trying to get a video of the way the girder front forks ran when and we're going over all those bridges to Key West. And if they have that, I don't know if I'm doing it right to cue it up, but it, there we go. It's kind of hard to see in this, but everybody commented when I posted it, they commented on how it sounded. And then what rolled on here was one of the arrivals at the end of the day. And this is this year, the first time I fired it up, and it's just sitting there thumping, ready to go for 2021.
That thing is just a beautiful machine.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome machine.
So I guess your intention is to ride this machine again in 2021?
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunate. I found a 1935. I'm trying to work the game, right? So I found a 1935. So I get a little bit of handicap. 1935, what they called an international, which is an overhead cam bike. And they were basically the equivalent of a race bike provided to non-racers. And this is a picture of the bike that I bought. It's a 350cc, but the engines were basically designed to be race speed engines, for a long period of time. So I figured this would be a hell of a candidate for a cross-country chase, and it would give me a couple of handicap points, by being a 35 and being a 350.
It would actually give you a lot of handicap points on that. So for those people that aren't familiar, let me just talk about the handicap system here real quick. On the Chase is a little bit different than some of the events that we do. We actually set up a handicap system for riders and their motorcycles. So basically we have it set up that you get so many points handicap for the older the motorcycle is. So say you got a 1930, you'll get 8 points. If you have a 1960, you'll get 0 points. And then we base it on the actual CCs of the motorcycle too. So people that have a lower displacement like these 350 singles, they will get higher handicap points over people that say have, an 80 cubic inch Indian Chief or, panhead motorcycle. So, of course, these guys that, to really be handicapped and be competitive, you're going to want a small displacement motorcycle and something that's, probably pre 1935. So.
Exactly. It helped. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and shipping costs and availability went through the roof, and it's now finally entered shipment. And but I don't expect to get it before the end of May, and I just don't really see it being feasible trying to go through it and make it available for July. So I will ride the Model 18 again.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So is there anything that you got to do to the Model 18 to get it ready from 2019 to 21, or is it since the end of 2019 ready to go?
No, a couple things. The rack that I built for the bags, one of the things I hadn't thought about when we built those was the fact that they go up and down. And it kind of, when you hit the bumps, they go up and then they come down, and we got them loaded with everything, right? Because we're carrying, I got a magneto, I got, spare everything, seems like. And as a matter of fact, one of the pictures that you guys have got there in the parking lot, I'm kind of looking like I'm pondering things, and it was like, what am I going to get rid of, and send it back from the hotel. Just to lighten the load, but it cracked a couple of the welds, so we're going to reinforce that. I'm going to put a little bit taller set of handlebars on it. I lean a little too far forward, and it. I'd have some lower spinal surgery done last fall, and I've recovered from that pretty well. But I want to set more upright and not. So anyway, we're going to try that. Put a new rear tire on, and other than that, it's about ready to go.
Hey, yeah, sounds pretty easy. Mostly just kind of cosmetic stuff. What's really the reliability of those things? I'm interested to, do these things last 20, 50,000 miles before you really need an overhaul on them, or,
I don't know. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, we got that far, huh?
It made it through the cross-country chase.
Let's talk about some of the pictures you gave us, because we haven't had a chance to roll those yet. Let's roll through some of the photos, and maybe you can share some thoughts about the moments that you experienced during these photos. This is, can you see?
I didn't have to have a helmet on.
This is in Key West, right?
Yeah. We rolled from that staging point, and then down to here. And I thought, you know what? This is the opportunity. I don't have to worry about it. I strapped the helmet on the back, and that vest I'm wearing, which I've got right here with me right now. I'm talking about this thing right here. This is a lifesaver in riding down south, where the temperatures are what we were experiencing. And the thing of beauty of this, it's called Hyper Cool, and you can take it and you soak it in the sink or whatever, and it sucks up the water and kind of inflates. And then when you're riding, it evaporates and it cools you down. And I could not advertise it or recommend it more. I'll be wearing it on this next one.
Heck yeah! So that's just one of those things that you get wet and it cools you.
Yeah, it evaporates. It's like a big sponge, and then as you ride, it evaporates and it cools you. And it's like, remember them days we had like 100-degree temperatures and stuff. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't that. This picture right here.
So you guys out there better pay attention, because it is going to be hot in the Ozarks. I guarantee it. So this might be a little hint for you guys to maybe do some shopping.
Hyper Cool, it's called.
Tell us about this one, Mark.
And now I'm not as prepared as I should be. There was a fella at the Lakeland stop. you know, we're there, and there was a drawing for this guy to do a pencil sketch, and I mean, I never win nothing, right? And so I said, well, how much just to do it? And he gave me a price, and I said, okay, let's do it. He took a picture and then produced this pencil sketch from the picture and sent it to me. And
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, just like you were talking about Michael Lechner earlier, you know, and his photos. I bought several different sizes. One of the ones that you showed there with my hand on my left leg, I was like, oh, you know, that's kind of cool. And my wife says, no, I want that one. I go, why do you want that one? She says, well, that's the way you ride. And I never really realized it before, you know, but I do ride that way. And Michael shots and oh, there's my buddy and roommate Matt Miller. We have no idea who we were, right? And we got assigned each other, and we started emailing. And he says, "Well, I see you're a sailor, or we're a sailor." And I go, "Yeah." And he says, "So I suppose that means you enjoy adult beverages."
That would be Matt.
And I go, "Yeah, I've been known to in you know, have a few, you know." And we just had the most excellent time. And that's another thing I got to say about the cross country chase. I made friends and acquaintances that you know, are probably lifelong if you want to pursue it, type of thing. You know,
yeah,
Jason,
absolutely.
sounds like you're going to be down at the auction. Me and another friend are bringing 2 bikes down of his, so we'll see you down there at the auction. Always
Excellent.
Yeah, and I had sent it to it's Marjorie, right? She's the preview gal.
Right.
Yeah. So I sent her one picture that was from the last auction. Remember, a whole bunch of us got together from the cross country chase.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was an excellent idea about what you were talking about earlier. Definitely, you know, even if it's a reduced cast, I mean, there you are, huh?
Right. What a group of people, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great group, man.
Oh yeah,
Keep going. You're gonna get there. There we are. There's Matt and I.
It's just a super eclectic group of people, you know. I mean, these are people that in real life you would never get to meet, you know, on any other occasion. And you know, it's events like this that bring these type of people together. And I don't know if it's really necessarily taking you out of your comfort zone, but you know, just doing something that you probably normally wouldn't do, or talk to somebody that you normally wouldn't talk to, you know.
That's exactly right, you know, and I think it does take you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and I think that's a good thing, you know. And then of course I'm, you know, the strange dude riding this Norton, right? But that's, the event says vintage motorcycle, so I think it's wonderful that the diversity that we do have. I was counting up this year. I don't know if I got that total right, but it looks like we got about 70 riders signed up for this year.
Yeah, I think we just topped a little over 80. We're still working on getting people on the website, so you know, we will have a little bit more people than we have last year. So, and we still got a bunch of on the fence. So who knows? We probably can end up filling out on the thing.
I'm trying to talk a friend of mine into bringing a 1930s era BSA Y13 twin cylinder. Him and I coming down there. I counted up 10 British motorcycles so far.
Yeah, it's neat to see some of the mix on there.
Yeah, and I think last year I tended to ride with this group, and we rode a little fast. And I think this time around, I'm going to run it a little slower. Yeah, there's no need to be fast. It's just a matter of finishing.
Yeah, exactly. I know you guys were one of the first people to leave in the morning, and you know, of course, probably one of the first people to get in at night. You know, those British motorcycles, they don't use any gas at all. So, I mean, and your cruising speed on those things are pretty crazy.
Yeah, once you get into the 500cc range like that, 50, 55 is not really a problem. It's more what the condition of the road is. And just, again, the tape and the Cannonball, because not that I've gotten to ride the Cannonball yet, but I was a crew member and mechanic for the team Norton. What was that, 2018?
Yeah, but they took you because of your last name, right?
And then I just got a text the other day that said, hey, would you like to do it again this year? So I guess I'm on the team.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you
Beautiful.
for Cannonball.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So tell everybody why I say that they took you because of your last name.
Yeah. I like this picture because it had that ore carrier going through, you know?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Basically
Yeah.
the same model ship as the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh,
And we were there in Sault Ste. Marie, right, which is on the edge of Whitefish Bay. And if you've ever listened to the song The Edmund Fitzgerald, it said if they'd have put 15 more miles behind her, they'd have made Whitefish Bay.
Nice. So that boat, I actually scheduled that boat to be there that day.
Yeah.
Not many people knew that.
We should have
Little
Gordon,
inside information.
should have Gordon Lightfoot there for the next Cannonball
Dude, I love
send-off.
Gordon Lightfoot. I hope you ain't making Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, I thought you and him were good friends.
Dude, I love Gordon Lightfoot.
So yeah, I made reference to your last name for people who don't know. There's a item to cool the electricity on a British bike, and it's called a Zenor diode.
So the thing about a Zenor diode is the fact that it has a breakdown voltage, right, of about 14 volts. And once it breaks down, it goes into an avalanche, right? And it's one way. So some people have told me that kind of is the same as me.
One way?
One way and not an avalanche breakdown.
So
hey, let's check out another video that we got that you sent in.
Hold on 1 second. One other question. So is your bike still positive earth? Like the original British bikes?
Actually, what's really crazy, Rob, is my Commando is a positive ground, but in that era, the 46 time frame, they're negative ground.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so a little bit. I always thought British was was positive ground. So
Predominant.
There you go, thinking again.
There's an oddball or two.
I'm thinking about Oli, Jason. Oh, I'm sorry, you won't be there.
Whoever's doing you guys' backup is doing a good job.
Oh yeah, Chris is great. Chris Callan.
Yeah,
he's on it.
Chris.
You mentioned Zenor diode. He's got the picture, and it's by Joseph Lucas, right?
It's that's one of their manufacturers, but and people have asked me before. You got to notice the spelling. It's Zener, and mine is Zenor. So hence, I never got any of the royalties from the patent.
And so, why do British drink warm beer?
Because the refrigerators usually don't work.
Yeah, Lucas refrigerators. That's right.
Got to coddle that sensitive English stomach.
Well, let's cue up another video here real quick. We're running short on time, and I want to get through these. So
yeah, I got to get to Oli.
Oh, this was opening day, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that was in Sault Ste. Marie.
I'll tell you one thing. We got down the road a ways. We're riding by the lake, right? It's raining. The road's potholed. We're plugging along. Full face helmet is wanting to steam up on the inside. And all of a sudden, I just had this big grin all over my face. And I'm thinking, I'm here doing this, you know? And nothing could have been better at the time. didn't make no difference what the weather was. Nothing made any difference. Oh, there's GLT.
How'd you
Yeah, that
feel
was a
about
heck
the
of a day.
bridge? How'd you feel about the bridge? What was your experience and response?
Well, we were coming up to that bridge, right? And there's all these people out by their mailboxes. They're on the hillside. And they're all waving. We're waving and waving. I'm going, that's really nice. All these people came out and are waving at us motorcycle guys. It wasn't like the bridge. And I realized all of them are out there because of all the tractors and stuff coming over later.
Right.
But that just shows you how the Midwest is. If you wave, they wave back.
They do.
Now, did you have any kind of response to going over the Mackinac Bridge or the Mackinac, right?
Other than that wiggle?
Yeah, the wiggle.
This was leaving the Harley Museum. Well, not the Harley Museum, but that next morning.
Right. A motorcycle looks like it starts pretty easy.
I'm pretty proud of that, yeah.
It's got a nice little sound to it.
When everybody's
too,
looking at it or it dies at a stoplight or something like that, it's not always so perfect.
Walk me through a normal starting sequence on that motorcycle.
Turn the gas on, tickle the carb till it spits out a little fuel out the little vent thingy, put the advance down to where it's just slightly advanced, push down on the kickstart till you feel compression, hit the release till it just goes over top dead center and give it a prod, and it'll usually fire.
Sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, it works. One of the things I've been noticing riding it lately is that at stoplights, you got to use your thumb a little bit, but yeah, take the advance off, and so that it idles a little slower, and then it's much more easy to slip it into first gear, taken away from the stoplights and stuff, and then you just got to advance it again, of course, and there's the Badger. That was a hell of a ride. That was a very interesting part of our the whole chase.
Yeah, that was a fun excursion.
Yeah. Oh, I got to put in a plug for the quiz. I enjoyed the quiz. I thought that was a great part of the whole thing. And I look forward to the next one. And I think it should be on the Cannonball too.
I got to ask you though, because I haven't asked this of any of the non-American riders, of what they, how they treated the test, or because it's all American motorcycle history questions. Did you struggle with that, or it's just something we haven't talked about with some of the other guys.
How many names of Davidsons and Harleys did you, there must have been, how many questions? Which brother was what, right? And you would think that, somebody would bone up on that a little bit, which I did try to. And last year or the year before at Barber, I bought me a big, thick encyclopedia on the history of Harley Davidsons, just so I could study up.
I remember that. I remember seeing you at Barber Vintage Fest, and you came up and was like, "Oh, I'm getting prepared for the next one," and had a whole bag of books.
And now you're telling me there are going to be questions about women motorcycle riders, and so I'm like, well, I'll bet you he doesn't mention anything at all about the English woman that came over riding an international motorcycle across the United States and the 1950s and kind of thing, But how do I want to say it? I figured there was going to be a challenge there, and I accepted it. And the other part of the questions on over the route and stuff like that. And some of them, I guessed. There's some of them I looked at, and it's like, okay, if I can't figure this out in 10, 15 seconds at the stop, go to the next question, and then come back to it and say, this one guy told me, well, you know how to do those. And I go, no. He says, well, if you look at your watch, if the minute hand is between 12 and 3, that's an A. If it's between 3 and 6, it's a B. And if it's between 6 and 9, it's a C. And if it's between 9 and 12, it's a E. Well, I'd never
That's
heard of
pretty
that
good.
rule before, but I'm planning on using it this year.
I like the strategy. So, hey, we are, I'm getting a red light here from everybody. So which is meaning we're running out of time. We always kind of wrap up this show of me asking you of what can we expect out of Mark Zenor other than getting prepared for the 2021 cross country chase? What can we expect for you out of the next year? What's on your book? What plans do you have?
Well, I'm going to be in a little bit of a conflict here because last year I signed up for an Italian event that runs from Milano to Toronto, which is basically the length of Italy, right? And it's been going on for a long time. I can't remember exactly what. 80s, since 1980s, it's kind of a recreation event. I was scheduled to ride that last year. The COVID blew it out. It's booked right over the same time as the chase, but it looks like the COVID rules are probably not going to allow that to happen. So I'm focusing on the chase. I'm going to do the Cannonball, as a crew member. And I'd love to get signed up for my 35 in the next upcoming chase. And I've got access to a 1928 Model 18 Norton overhead valve, and I'd love to get signed up for the follow-on Cannonball.
Heck yeah, we'd love to have you. It's great people like you that that make these events so great. So, we would definitely welcome you with open arms on both those events.
Well, that's one of the nice things about this event. It's pretty open, and there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of, you got a problem, we'll help you. Some of them guys, like the bike's not going to make it, but we're going to go anyway. And we just keep following,
Right. So, all right. Well, I know Rob is itching to get to Ole, actually to get to bed, to get to Ole in the morning. So I think with that, I just want to give a big thank you to you, Mark, for coming on the show and sharing some of your stories with us and giving us a little bit of knowledge on the Nortons.
Mark, thanks a lot, man. Great stuff. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I really was honored to be on here. It's nice. Thanks very much.
We'll bring you back. So
okay.
We'll have you back here.
Let me know.
And I'll see you next week in Las Vegas.
Yeah, looking forward to that too.
Heck yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
You hear that, Jason?
I got an itch on my forehead.
Ole's calling me. Ole.
Anyway, let's get out of here.
Wait, I hear it. I hear it even. I'm only a few hours away. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris Simmons said buy her book. It'll help you out with the questions for the chase.
It could. It definitely could. You never know.
Well, we plugged it earlier, so there's a link. ChrisSimmons.com, LichterPhoto.com. There's another plug.
Yeah.
If you missed it earlier in the show.
Hey, for you guys that are still out there with us, and if you are going to Ole, hey, make sure you post some pictures.
Jason, what's that on the screen? What was that? Go back, Chris. What's that?
Oh, Retro Cycle?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I had to grab a moment.
All right. So for you guys going to Ole, make sure you post pictures. Send me some texts if you don't do social media, whatever. I'd like to see what's going on there and hear the gossip and see what's new in the woodworks out there. So
Jason would run out of gas on the way to Ole anyway, says Richard.
Hey, we were just talking about that earlier. That's kind of funny.
Well, I'm about out of gas myself, and I know if I'm getting up at 4 a.m, I'll definitely be out of gas. So
right. So all right,
Rebecca,
with further ado, we'll get out of here.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
I'll see you guys in Las Vegas if you're coming.
Cool.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for watching.